Hi everyone, I'm David with the Downtown Sailing Center, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to use a marine or a VHF radio. To start with some general guidelines and pro tips, VHF radios are often not very easy to understand, so for the best clarity, you want to hold the radio or microphone 2 to 3 inches away from your mouth, and you want to hold that transmit or push to talk button for a second or two before you begin talking because there usually is a little bit of a delay. In addition, you want to make sure that you're speaking slowly and clearly, even more so than you would when you're talking in person or on the phone. It's important to remember that everything you say on a VHF radio is public, so always be sure to keep it appropriate. Don't use foul language, and remember, if you're using a radio as a staff member at the DSC or as a participant in one of our programs, you are representing us publicly to anyone who might be listening. Only one person can transmit at any given time on each channel on a VHF radio, so always keep your communications short and to the point. This way you're not tying up the channel any longer than you need to. If you need to have a longer conversation, you should probably move that on over to a cell phone. Different channels on VHF radios do have different purposes. There are many different channels, and I certainly won't cover them all, but I will go over a few that we use more commonly as recreational boaters. The first of these is channel 13 or 1-3. This is bridge to bridge or ship to ship. This is what commercial traffic usually uses to speak to one another. So if you need to get in touch with a commercial vessel, this is probably your best bet. The other time I would use channel 13 is if I'm in an area with heavy commercial traffic, or if there's any kind of large commercial vessel like a container ship coming and going nearby. I would probably tune in and just listen to channel 13 to get an idea of what's going on around me. The next, and probably most important channel, is 16 or 1-6, the hailing and emergency channel. If you need to make any kind of an emergency or distress call or contact the Coast Guard, 16 is going to be the channel that you use, since this is what the Coast Guard will always be monitoring, and it is also what you, as the boater on the water, should be monitoring at all times as well. In addition to emergency calls, 16 is also used for hailing or calling other boats. You don't want to have a conversation on it. You just want to get in touch with another boat using channel 16 if you don't already have some other prearranged, agreed upon channel to use. And then once you've established contact, immediately switch to a more appropriate channel. What will likely happen if you ever have any communication with the Coast Guard is after you make contact with them, they will get your basic information and then ask you to switch to their working channel, 22A or 22 Alpha. The other time when you might listen in or use channel 22A is if the Coast Guard is making some type of announcement that you want to listen to. What this might sound like is the Coast Guard will announce on channel 16 that there is an upcoming broadcast relevant to a certain area, and if you're in that area, then you can, when you hear that, switch to channel 22A and listen in as they go into more detail. The final category of channels is recreational channels, and as recreational boaters, these are probably what we're going to use the most often. The recreational channels are 6.8, 6.9, 7.1, and 7.2. On any of these channels, you can have just casual conversation and discuss whatever it is that you might want to discuss with either other boaters or people on shore over the radio. I've highlighted channel 7.1 or 71 because that's the channel that we usually use as the DSC as our prearranged, agreed upon buddy channel, people often call it. This way we don't need to use channel 16 any more than necessary. To go over what it sounds like when you actually make a call, you always want to start by saying the boat name or the person name of whoever you're calling 3 times in case they don't hear you the first or the second time, and then identify yourself. This way they know who's calling them and who to direct their response to. In general, any individual transmission, you should end with the word over. Saying the word over indicates that I'm done speaking for this particular moment, and I'm now listening and waiting for a reply. So what that's going to sound like is if I was calling Rena, I would say, Rena, this is David, over. If Rena hears me, she's then going to reply, David, 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 this is Rena, over. At this point, if we're not on channel 16, we can just have our conversation and discuss whatever it is I was calling her about. If we are on channel 16, we'll immediately want to tell each other what channel we're going to switch to. We should probably choose one of the recreational channels if that's appropriate. Move over to that channel, then get in touch using that same process, and then have our conversation. To end an entire conversation, you want to use the word out. Saying the word out indicates that you're not done speaking just for that particular moment, but you're done communicating for the time being. The conversation is over. Okay. Out means I'm done talking and I'm no longer listening for a reply. It's helpful to say what channel you're going to be standing by on and what channel you're going to be continuing to monitor for the rest of the day, so that that person or boat knows how to get in touch with you moving forward if they need to call you again. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a great time out on the water.